I'm ready. Man, Kyrie Irving has issued a to-do list. Davis has everyone running NBA trade machine. And is it Groundhog's Day in LA Clipper land? I'm Rosa Panda. This is the Clinic All NBA podcast. I have the two hooligans with me. JJ, how you living, my friend?
Oh, you know me.
Feeling good, feeling great. Feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
That's right.
I'm feeling good, man. Sammy, how you living, my friend?
I'm good, man. Despite the Groundhog Day that you mentioned before, I'm trying to stay positive as much as possible.
Of course, shout out to our missing member, John, right now. We're going to talk about, once again, the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie Irving. If you've been living under a rock, Kyrie Irving has been suspended by the Brooklyn Nets for, I guess, promoting a movie over Twitter that has some anti-Semitic tones. And, well, the Brooklyn Nets have issued this for Kyrie Irving. They gave him a list of things to do after he has failed to just outwardly condemn this movie. This is what the list looks like. First, apologize and condemn the movie. 2, make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. 3, do sensitivity training. 4, anti-Semitic training. 5, meet with Anti-Discrimination League and Jewish leaders. And 6, meet with Joe Tsai to demonstrate Kyrie Irving's understanding of all this. And I guess I wanted to start with this. Do you guys think that this list is fair? Do you think this is fair for Kyrie Irving to return back to the Brooklyn Nets?
I think so. I mean, I think the reason it got so extensive is because in Joe Tsai's eyes, from what he put out there in public statements, is that he was giving Kyrie every opportunity to show some level of apology, basically, and some remorse over and over and over. And then when he finally came out and had that media availability and essentially didn't apologize, that pretty much put it over the top. So, you know, the most interesting thing I find out about this list is if you look at number 6 there, that meet with Joe Tsai to demonstrate understanding, that's very subjective to me. That's kind of Joe Tsai saying, if I still don't like what I hear, I'm just still going to shut you down. So it's interesting that that one is the last one on the list. I'm curious to see if it's going to be like a rubber stamp or if they're almost going to hold that over his head to determine his future. I'm not trying to read too far in the tea leaves, but that's how I read it. I mean, Jay, you think I'm overreading on this?
No, I don't think you're overreading it. With the Nets, I always feel like it's tough to read them because they're all about winning. Like the Udoka hiring, that's all about winning. And then they complain about their PR, but they put themselves in a bad position. And it's just like that one girl from high school that's like, I'm not drama, but drama follows me everywhere. That is the Brooklyn Nets, ladies and gents. That is the Brooklyn Nets. Like, this list, which I do agree with on a PR perspective, is good for the NBA. Because frankly, and for Brooklyn, because Brooklyn has a high population of the Jewish community. But come on now, like the training, like sensitivity training, we all remember, like, in The Office when Michael Scott had to do Diversity Day. Did that really make Michael be more compassionate? Be more aware in the office about what he says? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
It just sounds like what the Nets is doing is trying to cover their butts on the PR side. But number 2, they're making a list for what it seems like a high schooler. Like, you don't have lists like this for a professional athlete. You make lists for your son that's in high school that needs to do chores. If you do this for professional, it's usually linked to what, fellas? To bonuses, not consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I know that you mentioned that last one was like meet with Joe Tsai, and it was interesting that he put it in there. I really like it. And this is the reason why I like it. Anyone could complete a checklist, okay? And not mean it. And it not mean a thing to them. Right? Joe Tsai wants to meet with Kyrie Irving to make sure that he truly understands, because honestly, I don't think Kyrie thinks he did anything wrong. And I think the majority of people would say that his apology was kind of cryptic and it was hard to understand. And it wasn't like a blatant no, like I am not this or yes, I am that. It was just vague. And I think meeting with Joe Tsai is important here for him to be sort of the barometer, since, you know, he's the boss, right? On whether or not he should return to the team. Am I out of pocket here?
I don't, excuse me. I don't think you are if you take it in good faith, which it very well could be. But can I play devil's advocate?
Yes.
Is it also possible that that's an out for the Nets to keep him suspended if they just don't want to bring him back?
Ooh.
The other part of that is that suspension is also without pay. So every game that he's out, it costs something like, doing the rough math, like 400 grand. So obviously, if he gets to that step and Joe Tsai still shuts him down, they're going to have an issue with the NBA Players Association for sure. But I'm going back and forth about the intention of that. I think on one level you're right, but the other part of me can't help but conspiracy theory it a little bit. And the other part that makes me think that as well is this is very unconfirmed. But do you remember last week when we spoke about Udoka, it seemed like his hiring was imminent, and you noticed that it kind of just stopped?
Right.
There are rumors that a certain NBA commissioner slowed it up for the Nets because of the said PR that JJ was talking about earlier.
Man.
So you put all this together, and it just makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes. So I had to take it on both sides. That's how I read it.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I want to mention that Jaylen Brown, who is the vice president of National Basketball Players Association, he had this quote to say. He said, "I don't believe Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic. I don't think people in our governing bodies think he's anti-Semitic. He made a mistake. We understand from an outside perspective how important sensitivity is to not condone hate speech and not condone anything of that nature. It's sensitivity to the dialect around that. We don't want to stand up for somebody in order to not condemn hate speech, but I don't believe Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic, and hopefully the NBA feels the same way." And he took it even farther. He said that they think that the Players Association is going to make moves to appeal Kyrie Irving's suspension.
Oh my goodness.
What do you guys think of Jaylen Brown's statement here?
I mean, for Jaylen Brown to be a representation from the players union, I don't think this was a good look for him at all. You could definitely see the outcry from the Boston fan base, but even from NBA fans, like right now, don't even touch Kyrie with the stick at this point. Don't even like mention anything. Don't say who's wrong, who's right. It should be all about damage control, which Jaylen Brown is not doing. He's putting gasoline to the fire, number one. And number two, the NBA has spent so much money, especially within the last 2 years, guys, about social injustice, solidarity, protecting each other because there's so much wrong in the world. And then this, like, Kyrie posted this film that caused this much drama, and whether you believe it or not, people don't like it. That's what it comes down to. You know, like the NBA is all about its fans. So why? What are you doing, Jaylen Brown?
Yeah,
it's kind of stupid of him.
No upside to making a statement in the media about this on that side of the coin. You want to address it behind the scenes. Do not get in front of a microphone. Don't even look like you're taking the side of someone who, whether he meant to or not, came off with views that look anti-Semitic. There is no upside here. This was a PR mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Jaylen Brown sort of becomes like one of the faces of this story now. And he's gonna try to probably speak about this several times after games, before games, whatever. I don't know. It's kind of shaky.
It doesn't help either that he was signed to Kanye West's Donda agency.
That's right.
And Kanye West has been under
man.
fire for his anti-Semitic, tweets. So Jaylen Brown right now is just like, come on, man. Like you are already under scrutiny by being signed with Kanye West's agency and making statements about that agency and Kanye West. And now you have this. Not a good move, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm going to take this back to basketball here. Kyrie Irving, I don't know if he's ever going to play for the Brooklyn Nets or even in the NBA again. That's honestly up in the air. What's your guys' confidence level that Kyrie Irving can come back from this and return to the NBA? Give a percentage.
Dang. Okay.
I know this is a tough question.
50%.
50?
50%.
I am 50-50 on this. I am very torn on this.
I think I have a take that's pretty bold.
Okay.
I think
Let's hear it. Go.
It reminds me of the Kaepernick situation, guys.
Wow. Okay.
Because with Kaepernick, you could have argued a few years ago that compared to half of the league who had these quarterbacks that weren't even like worthy of starting,
Yeah.
Kaepernick no one even wanted to touch Kaepernick. And it's not even about talent. Some people are gonna argue that, like, well, it's because of his politics. Yeah, it's because the NFL is a business and they don't want to deal with any controversy, because look at with the Nets, like, controversy, even though it sells usually, it's a headache, and it's not the kind of controversy that you want.
I'm with you, Jay. I'm going like 15%, something low. And I'm thinking the same thing. It has nothing to do with talent, because we know that Kyrie Irving is literally one of the nastiest one-on-one basketball players I have ever seen. His mixtape is absolutely ridiculous. I love him on the basketball court, but the circus around him is just too much. I don't think anyone's going to be able to sign him anymore. And if that's true, they're without Kyrie Irving, okay? Ben Simmons seems like a shell of himself, and like he can't shoot the basketball for whatever reason. The Brooklyn Nets sit now at 4-6. They're currently, I think they're playing the Dallas Mavericks. We don't know how that pans out, but they have wins against the Raptors, Pacers, Wizards, Hornets, and losses to the Pelicans, Grizzlies, Bucks, Mavericks, Pacers, and Bulls. My thing is if the Brooklyn Nets season goes haywire, should they trade Kevin Durant or either future young pieces, picks, whatever it may be? What do you guys think?
So just to throw this out there really quick, they actually just finished that game. They lost by 2. Just to start this off. I just got curious and checked.
4-7.
4-7. Let's start this by, as much maligned as Durant is, in the middle of all this, he just won Player of the Week. Respect. Because dealing with all the nonsense he's dealing with over there to pull that is pretty impressive. So I just want to throw that out there. Now, to answer your question, it feels like the way they're going to turn into Lakers West or East, right? And I know John's not on here to defend the Lakers, but I'm going to take an indirect shot at them anyway. If you pull Kyrie off this team, so let's go with what you guys are saying. Kyrie doesn't come back. Ben Simmons looks like a project at best. What's the ceiling of the team now? 40 wins? Maybe? With
I
Durant?
hope.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What does that get you? So you've lost most of your picks in that Harden trade. You have to trade him. What's the point? I mean,
Jay,
I don't
are
mean
you
to
there
sound
too?
so adamant about it. JJ. I mean, what do you have nothing to build around him with? So I'm trading him right away if this keeps going the way it's going.
Dude, look, Ben Simmons didn't even play the past 4 games. With Kyrie Irving and KD, they didn't look good. They were last with defensive ranking.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay on offense. They're like, what, 15th? Which is okay, but that's not going to win you a championship. It's like stocks, baby. It's like stocks. Sell while it's high.
I'm there too. Like, I'm looking at Kevin Durant if I'm Joe Tsai, and I'm like, this is the only piece for the future. This is the only thing I have, right? And I think you gotta trade him, dude. I don't know what a trade would possibly look like, but actually we're gonna take a short little break with a word from our sponsor.
NFL Sundays are only getting better, and so are the incredible offers at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN and place a $5 pregame moneyline bet to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Wow.
All right, boys, we're gonna take it to our next topic here, and it's from the Podfather, Bill Simmons. He said, so the Lakers lost today. I don't know why I added that quote. Sorry, John. There's some buzz, some buzzing that AD might be available. That's a plan B, because Westbrook trade, or whatever they think they could get for Westbrook, and whether you want to give up future assets, maybe that doesn't even make sense, because what are you getting if you're the Lakers? So Bill Simmons thinks that there's some buzzing going around AD that he may be possibly on the trade block. Do you guys believe this or not? You think this is news or noise?
I think it's news. What do you think, Sammy?
I'm with you. I think you have to explore all options, right? If you're that team right now.
Yeah, is what Bill Simmons making sense? Do you guys agree with that assessment of that situation with Westbrook?
Yeah, I think, going back, let me just say this. With the LeBron James and AD fit, the reason that they won that championship was that they won it off their athleticism and their greatness. Now that they're getting older and they're aging, if you really think about it, their styles don't really match. Like, LeBron needs to be with shooters. Junior, you have said this over and over and over again, that LeBron needs to be with shooters. Sammy, you've always said that the Lakers need, they don't even have shooting in AD.
Yeah. I think he has the worst field goal percentage of the big three. I think right now, he's shooting like something crazy low on field goal percentage. I mean, I'm talking about like mid-range jumpers and stuff like that.
It was
I
like
think
18 or 20%, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with you, Jay. Where like the pairing between LeBron and AD, it's looking kind of questionable right now. Sammy, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I would add on to this is, at this point in his career, LeBron doesn't just need a complimentary player on the court. He needs a player who's going to be durable and available.
Yes.
Because he's at the point in his career where, realistically, he should play 60, 65 games. Like, he's got to keep his legs for the playoffs, assuming, obviously, they get there, which this year looks not in the cards. So having Davis with him, who we've talked about ad nauseum, is just, for all his talent, is a very brittle player. Just on every level now, it's not going to work. So that was just what I was going to add. I think for so many reasons, they just don't pair well together anymore. So please go ahead with your next point.
Well, I was going to say, if Anthony Davis is on the trade block, who would be some potential trade partners? I think, Sammy, you were on the NBA trade machine a little bit here, along with everyone else once they saw that tweet. Sammy, what do you have?
Enlighten us, please.
I'm trying to weave some magic here because, again, want to give full credit to Bill Simmons on making this point. Anthony Davis is also represented by Clutch. So, the reason I bring that up is obviously that's pretty much half the Laker roster. And more so, in addition to that, I don't think they'll let him go to a small market. So that's instantly knocking out certain teams with a lot of assets. So, like they mentioned on their podcast, Utah would actually be super interesting because all of a sudden they're very good. There's no way he's going to Utah. So,
Don't think so.
this feels like where the Knicks step in.
Oh, I had one for the Knicks as well. Okay.
Did you? Okay,
All
so
right.
I'm trying to figure out what it looks like. But they passed on Mitchell because they were waiting for the next guy.
Yep.
This is the next guy, clearly.
Hello,
So-
next guy.
Yeah, so in this scenario, this is not like Westbrook where Westbrook has 1 year left on his deal and the Lakers have to deal him, right? Davis has 3 years left. So the big rule when you're signing free agents, even if you're re-signing your own, is generally you can't trade them before January. In January, Mitchell Robinson becomes available. Hartenstein becomes available, namely for the Knicks. So they also have a lot of picks, and at this point, if you're the Knicks or if you're the Lakers, you have to start collecting assets. To me, it feels like the deal there is centered around some package of their kids that are on cheap deals and picks. So that makes me think Mitchell Robinson, Toppin, Quickly, picks. I know it doesn't sound as like major star coming back, but I really feel like what the Lakers need right now is flexibility. They need to not be locked into these deals where they can't do anything. You add those guys, you add 3 proven legit rotational players, and most importantly, that cap sheet is clean come the summer. Everyone is off the books except for LeBron and the kids that you brought in. So it would probably take, I would say, some combination of 3 to 4 first-round picks and swaps. That's the first one I came up with. I don't know if it's got the star power. So, June, you tell me. You said you had one for New York. What does yours look like?
Well, I want to talk about yours first.
Okay.
I think the only concern that I have here is I don't think LeBron's going to go for that. JJ, do you get the same sense?
No, he would want a star player that could complement his game and, to be frank, to win now, right?
Did the Knicks have that player? Are you thinking Barrett?
Well, this is where my trade comes in.
Kick it. Let's see it.
So I think the Knicks will have to give up a pick. What round? 1 or 2? I don't know.
Okay.
But to match salary, it's got to be RJ Barrett. And it's got to be Julius Randle coming back home. And the reason why the Knicks would do this is because Jalen Brunson gets a pick and roll mate with Anthony Davis. And I see both parties winning here.
I
What
have
do
a
you
trade.
think? Ooh, okay.
I have a trade.
Do it. What do you
Okay.
got?
What do you guys think? Revisit from 2 years ago, where Anthony Davis wants to go back home, which is where?
Pelicans?
Oh.
Chicago.
Ooh. Oh, Chicago.
Oh,
Okay,
Chicago,
sorry.
yes.
Okay, Chicago.
Okay.
All right.
And the Lakers get back fan favorite Caruso and hometown hero DeRozan.
So you could have just stopped at Caruso and John would have taken the trade. First of all. Okay, so let's analyze both of these. So I'm going to start with June's.
Yeah, please.
So I like the prospect of getting Barrett back. I will tell you the only concern I have with your trade, and this is as me, and clearly Pelinka doesn't think like I do.
Right.
So Barrett has a 5-year deal. Randall has 4 years left on his. The only concern I have with your trade is that you're locking them back in because you don't have flexibility again. So
I see what you're saying.
So my question for you guys before we get to the Chicago trade then is, let's say you make that deal and you make some small moves around it. Because remember, Barrett's contract goes up significantly next year. He signed that max extension after they didn't get the Mitchell trade done. What's the ceiling of that team?
Oh, man. probably still playing.
Okay. That's my concern. So that's why I wanted to throw that out there to you. Only because there's no contract flexibility unless you're able to turn Randall back around for something else, which is also very possible. The Chicago trade. I feel like LeBron would love that one.
I kind of like it.
Come on, yo.
I kind of like it.
How many picks are going from Chicago to LA in that trade, JJ?
Whatever.
I didn't even think
work.
about the picks.
Whatever it'll make.
Yeah.
I think LA is asking for at least 2 ones in that deal. I will tell you, you know who else I would want, and I don't know if Chicago would consider this too big an ask or not. He's not going to get talked about much. If I'm the Lakers, I want Patrick Williams back because he provides everything the Lakers don't have that they had on the title team. A little bit of shooting, a lot of defense. Just things the Lakers don't do anymore. The defense is okay, they don't shoot. If you can throw in a combination of those guys, the other thing I really like about that is you look at the numbers. DeRozan makes 27, not a huge number. Caruso makes 9, Williams makes 8. Those are smaller contracts, they're easy to manipulate. So if you try something out, it doesn't work, you have so much flexibility now that you're not stuck like you are now. So for that reason, I like that one just a little bit better.
You think Chicago would pull the trigger, guys, for that to get hometown hero Anthony Davis with Levine?
I
hopefully
wonder
Ball
about
comes back?
DeRozan. You know what the X factor for me would be on that one? What's going on with Lonzo Ball? If they find out Ball is able to play again, which I sincerely hope he is, then all of a sudden you look at that team on paper and it's Levine, Ball, Davis, Vooch. Like, it's a pretty good team in that scenario. If Ball is out, I wonder if they would hesitate a little. So only because you're giving up a lot of wing depth. But I think it makes sense for them, and it gives them, in name, the number one that they haven't had.
Yeah, I think that's the guy that like puts you over the top, right? And that's something that Chicago has desperately needed. That's a really interesting trade, JJ. That's a pretty good one. Sammy, do you have another one?
I was trying to figure out where does it make sense for him to go that he would go. So
would he go to Dallas?
Dallas would make sense, but you know where I always get stuck with Dallas and making trades is I feel like they do not have the star power to pull off a deal. If you look after Luka, they've got Christian Wood there. I don't know if you buy him as a legit number 2. I don't, because if he was a legit number 2,
well, this is what that's sort of the person I was thinking of, actually. So I'm thinking that Dallas is going to give up a couple picks here. Christian Wood goes, okay, and then also if he could get healthy, Davis Bertans, that provides a shooter for the Lakers. Westbrook gets a lob mate in Christian Wood, and then also LeBron gets a shooter with Bertans. And then Luka gets his immediate superstar help in AD. That's my thinking.
Okay.
And the Lakers get picks.
That one, I see some of the appeal for it. I like the Chicago one a little bit better if we're going through. I'll throw out one more to you I just came up with on the fly. And this would be a smaller market, but one that's on the rise. Memphis. No picks.
Okay.
No picks.
No picks.
We're talking straight up.
Davis for Jaren Jackson, and just to make the salary work, LA Lakers hometown hero Danny Green. Nothing else. If you want, maybe throw in one pick.
Danny Green.
Danny Green is there literally to make the salaries match up because he happens to have the perfect number to make the salary work.
Well, honestly, Danny Green would be perfect. Plays perimeter defense. You don't know what you're getting from 3-point though anymore.
At most, toss in one first-round pick from Memphis that's protected because Jackson is a very reasonable asset. Like almost, he's not quite on Davis's level because he has injury history.
Yeah,
but that's the other one.
So does Davis.
That's Memphis throwing their chips in the middle,
right,
and giving Ja a very legit partner.
I guess the question is, if you're Memphis, do you feel like you need AD to get there?
That's the question. What do you feel the ceiling of this team is with Jaren Jackson And do you think Davis raises it in a way
JJ.
that Jackson doesn't?
Would you do it?
If I'm the
Memphis.
Grizzlies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the Lakers would do it, but the Grizzlies would definitely do it.
Okay.
Ooh, state your case. Why you think?
Because would that really make the Lakers that much better?
I just think it makes them younger and more athletic. Does it make it outright better? I don't know. That's a very good point.
I think they want to win now. If there's a way that you could get help from LeBron and draft picks, I know that's
Yeah.
an oxymoron,
Yeah.
but that's the push and pull, right? That we're trying to find.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really hard to find that team.
Yeah.
Unless, you want to bring Draymond over to LeBron and swing something involving the Warriors.
Draymond and White.
Kuminga or AD.
Draymond and...
Oh, man.
Yeah, Draymond, Kuminga, and Moses Moody probably works.
Oh, man.
Probably. It probably does.
It makes no sense for LA because you really want to downgrade the shooting from Davis, then let's put Draymond out there next to him and see what happens.
Yeah. It might be a trade where I don't think anyone wins there, but I think JJ wins this round
I agree.
of NBA trade machine. I'm going to take us to our next topic here. We're going to talk about the panic meter. We've been talking about this for the past 2 or 3 pods. And new to the panic meter, we have the LA Clippers sitting at 5-5. They're currently... Did they defeat the Cavs or did the Cavs
They
win?
came
What
back
happened?
from down 12 in the fourth, and they actually won by 2.
All right, the 6-5 LA Clippers with wins against the Cavs, Lakers, Kings, Rockets again, Spurs, and losses to the Thunder again, Suns, Pelicans, and Jazz. And now there's news that Kawhi Leonard is out indefinitely for ACL management. And this is a quote from Ty Lue. He said he's progressing and he's getting better. So that's the most important thing. There's really not a time frame of when he's going to be back. I feel like I said in the intro, it's Groundhog's Day all over again from last year. What is your panic meter now for the LA Clippers? Scale of 1 to 10. 10 is like you're super panicked, you're about to jump out the window. I'm going to start with a non-Clipper. JJ.
I hate to say it, Sammy, but I'm at a 7 or 8. Just because Kawhi's main issue has been injury. And when you talk about his knee or any of his lower extremities, it's scary because that has taken him out of seasons and games. So the Clippers, we've talked about it. They're coached really, really well. But once you have Kawhi on your roster, it's almost championship or bust. So am I panicked? Actually, let me take that back. I'm about a 6 because you still have time. But the news is kind of, I don't know, ambiguous. I don't know how to decipher what's been released about this ACL management or whatever they call that.
Yeah. Sammy.
I'm an
what's the
8.
meter?
I am 100% an 8. And the big reason I'm an 8 is if you told me that Ty Lue quote was from 8 months ago, it would have sounded the exact same. That's not good.
I mean, yeah.
What they said was after the second game, his knee started to stiffen up. And so John brought this up last episode that we were all together last Monday, which is at this point, he was out for a year and a half. Played 2 games and that knee stiffened up, man. You have to start wondering, is this it? In terms of, I'm not saying is he not going to play again, but is he ever going to be able to play consistently? I don't doubt when he's on the floor that he'll be the same Kawhi because he was just as aggressive when he came out for those 2 games. But if he can't make it through 2 games in the regular season after a year and a half, it makes me very pessimistic that he would be able to get through 4 rounds of the playoffs. And for this team, I'll give the Clippers this. They've gotten so used to rallying without him that beating the Cavs tonight is impressive, especially considering they were down by a dozen.
Yeah.
But if you're in that locker room, they've stayed so positive the whole time. How how do you keep maintaining that confidence that he's coming back and is going to be playing at least half the regular season and getting into the playoffs? So I am very panicked right now. I'm hoping to be proven wrong, but so disappointing, man. I was cautiously optimistic for this year. I said when we previewed it that my fear was health, and other than health, I thought they could beat anybody, and it strikes 3 games into the year, so it's a downer for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. My panic meter is up to it's up there with you, Sammy. It's about an 8, and the reason being is because the Clippers had championship aspirations with how deep their team was or is, right? And which is good. But the thing is that, like, when your team is deep and you're missing your number 1 player, you could be like a regular season juggernaut, right? You could still win a lot of games. You could still get a high seeding. But when it comes to playoffs and the grind, like, you need to be a little top heavy.
Yep.
So
You have to be.
I'm gonna ask.
I changed my answer to a 6 to make Sammy feel better, but since June already made him feel bad, I'll say 8. I'll say 11 then.
I'm sorry, Sammy. I'm so sorry, man. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask this actually. Is there a world where you see the Clippers in the playoffs without Kawhi Leonard and they still make the NBA Finals? Is this possible still?
Good question.
And let's think about the depth here.
Slim chance, but yes, I can see it only because -1 lob in, I think, game 2 of the conference finals 2 years ago, they almost made the finals.
Yeah.
And PG, as maligned as he is, man, he stepped up in that playoff run and nearly got them all the way there. Like, that team just ran out of gas. And so the depth is there, but you need PG to replicate that performance. And then somebody has to kind of step up and not fill Kawhi's shoes, because you're not going to do that. But like Reggie Jackson in that playoff run was amazing. Can he reach that level again? Can John Wall pull that off? Is there another guy that I'm not thinking of right now? So can they do it? Yeah, but obviously I wouldn't favor them to, but it's possible.
JJ, what do you think?
I think they'll go far, but to reach the finals without your superstar, you need a deep roster to go far in the playoffs. You need your superstar to win you a championship. The past few finals MVPs have been MVP caliber players: LeBron, Giannis, and Steph, and Kawhi. So
Right.
yeah, you do need Kawhi.
Those are great points, Jay. And that's actually all we have for tonight's pod. I want to thank you two for being on. JJ, thanks for being on, man.
Okay, let's end this on a good note. It's only how many games into the season? 10 games. A lot more basketball left, a lot more fun.
Yeah, keep hope alive, Sammy. Sammy, thanks for being on, man.
Well, thank you for leaving us on a depressing note, but I will still keep hope alive and we'll go from there. Thank you. Always good to be here.
And of course, shout out to the man, our video producer, RJ. Check out our YouTube channel. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Like us on our Facebook group page, The Clinic All NBA Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at Clinic All NBA. I'm Rosa Panta. This is The Clinic All NBA Podcast. Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.